Hi, my name is George Arcand. I'm the Chief of Alexander First Nation. This week's an important time in our history. Our history as First Nation people has always been that we've been friendly people, people who've negotiated peace treaties with Canada. Part of our negotiation ensured that we had an opportunity to be part of Canada and roam Canada as free people. Over time, we've had our people spread across Canada, and throughout that time we've noticed many things that have caused problems in our families, caused problems in our communities. We found that our women were missing, our women were murdered. And I think the government and people need to take time to understand what is going on, and the people need to understand what's happened to our communities and what is caused in our communities. The government needs to ensure that these things don't happen anymore and that our people are safe. And we as First Nation people need to make sure we build the safeguards in our communities so that our people, and particularly our women, can continue to be safe. I think Canada needs to play a role in helping us ensure that all of Canadians and all of the people that are part of our communities continue to be safe. As part of our tradition and culture, as a male in my community, I was to protect my family, my people, and particularly the female. I think we failed. We failed because we did not have the opportunity to organize ourselves to ensure that we looked after the women who were missing and the women who've been vulnerable. We need to figure out as communities and step up to do things better so that we don't have these kind of activities happening throughout Canada and throughout our communities, so that our women can be safe and that our communities can be safe. I think as leaders and as male adults in our communities, we need to step up and we need to ensure that we play our role that our grandfathers taught us. And our opportunity is now that there's interest and an opportunity to ensure that people get the knowledge they need. And we need to do that now. Our history tells us that we've been people that learned from the land. So we had the ability to understand the situation, understand how things happened. And we need to take that now and educate ourselves as to what's happened to our people, what's happened to our communities over time, and how the influence of drugs and alcohol and people's thinking has changed the way we look at safety and changed the way we look at ensuring that our people are safe. Over this past year, COVID has showed us that we need to surround ourselves with our families, surround ourselves with our communities so that we can continue to be safe. COVID has also showed us that we've had the ability to create safe places for our community members and safe places for our family. I think we've got to learn and understand and educate ourselves as to what's happened to our people so that this will not happen again. And as a community, we need to take pride in the fact that we have information and we need to share that information. And we need to begin making the changes we need to make to continue to make all of our people, our women, our children, and our community to be safe and not be influenced by the things that are bad. And we have to carry on. Hiy Hiy.
Tanse. My name is Kevin Arken. I'm a council member from the Alexander First Nation. My dad is late Roy Arken. My mom is Hazel Arken. I'm the grandson of Fred Arken and Jacqueline Arken, and William Arken and Nancy Arken. Today, we pay our respects to the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. Many of our grandmothers, mothers, sisters, daughters, and granddaughters were stolen and taken from us way too soon. It is important to talk and educate everyone on this injustice that has been happening to our women for far too many years. Women are the givers of life. Without women, none of us would be here. As a man, it is our responsibility to walk beside the women, to help protect them, to provide for them and our families, to support them and help them with our teach our daughters, nieces, and our granddaughters the importance of our culture and ceremonies, to show them how our ceremonies and cultural teachings play a vital role in our daily lives, and to show them how to look after their spirit and be proud of who they are, a beautiful, strong Indigenous woman. Today, I believe it is very important, for us as community members, to try our best to educate our people on the importance of protecting our community members. We were very fortunate in Alexander to have so many great people and family members that are always there to give their time and look after our community members and our children. It takes a community to raise a child, and I think the awareness around this is very important. So everybody in the community plays a vital role. I would like to take the time today also to acknowledge the missing and murdered Indigenous persons. We have a lot of men as well that have been fallen victims, to crimes that were committed. So it is very important to not forget them at this time. So again, I would like to take the time to offer a prayer to all the missing, murdered Indigenous women and girls, and missing and murdered Indigenous people, and offer that prayer to those families, to those persons, those spirits that have been lost, and pray for all of us to continue to support this movement. Thank you. Hiy Hiy.
Hi, my name is Lisa Arcan. I'm from the Alexander First Nation. I am the daughter of Arsene and Mabel Arcan. My grandparents are Leo and Mary Kootenay, William and Nancy Arcan. I'm a mother, a grandmother, a daughter, a sister, and a great-grandmother, and a wife. MMIW really affects me as the First Nations woman of Canada because I'm a mother. Every day I'm afraid my daughter, every time she goes out, I'm afraid for her and my granddaughter, nieces. It's just a very sensitive topic with a lot of us as First Nations women. I wish more could be done from our government, but it's not. It's sad to say that our government doesn't really care for our people, especially our women, our life givers, and it should change, and I think it should change, and I think that as a First Nations woman, we need to stand strong together and speak up more on this issue. The sad part about and the reality about this is that the law is never on our side when it comes to us reporting our First Nations women missing. It's something that should be touched on a lot more, and I think that when we report our women missing, our daughters, our granddaughters, our nieces, it should be taken serious. It shouldn't be something that we should wait 24 hours. It's something that should be it's something that should be done right away, not something that we should have to wait. My message to all women, mothers, teach your children, your daughters, the reality and the dangers. Teach them, show them the statistics. It's sad because we don't have an actual number of how many of our women are missing. Our women are sacred. They're our life givers. I would just hate to see I just would hate to have a conversation after the fact. I would rather do something right now. Awareness is important, and we need to prevent this from happening. And I don't want to ever see this happen to somebody that I love or to any other woman. We need this to stop.
Tanse, I'm Carrie Avaduti. I'm the mother of two fierce warrior women, and I'm really proud to be their mother. And I am really honored to speak today on behalf of all of those women who are in my circle and in my community. This is an important issue. It's about the valuing of women, and we as a community, I hope that the more awareness that comes about for missing and murdered Indigenous women also helps us to reflect on those women around us and to value them and to uplift them. That's the first and most important step that we can do, to stand up for missing and murdered Indigenous women. Okay. Today is about missing, murdered Indigenous women and girls and two-spirited people. It's about awareness for all of those people around us, our neighbors and the larger population in Canada. But for us, it's a day of action. It's a reminder to those governments, all levels of government, to continue to keep the pedal to the gas about addressing those issues that bring about such issues as missing, murdered Indigenous women, the marginalization of our people, of our women, those systemic policies that have affected the value of women, and not just Indigenous women, but we have to remember too that to remind people that no women in Canada are safe until Indigenous women in Canada are safe, and that's something that we all have to work toward with all of our neighbors, with all of Canada. There's the call to action today for us as Indigenous people, I think, is to remember the calls to justice from the Missing Murdered Indigenous Women's Report, but also the calls to action from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Educate ourselves, understand what they're saying, try to do our best, write letters to our leaders in government and to remind them to continue to fund these programs that are needed to address the issues that are keeping our women missing or disconnected from our communities. And there's work to be done, all across Canada, but here in Alexander, there's things that we can do too. We need to work towards creating safer housing, better housing and spaces for reconnection for those people who were lost to us through the 60s scoop, through Bill C-31, all of those residential schools. They're all out there and lost sometimes and can't find their way back home. So we have to make efforts here to try to reconnect with all of our missing family members that are out there. We have to create educational opportunities and training opportunities so they have an opportunity to participate and become a part of the fabric of our community. And as a whole, we have to address poverty. It's the largest issue affecting our people, and we have to figure out how, as a nation, we can try to create the economic balance amongst all of our people. The part of my understanding and what I've read is that there's a lot of missing and murdered Indigenous women, but there's a lot of women out there who are just disconnected and lost in the system, in the work, and we have to find a way to be better, and to do better in our own community about reaching out to them, finding them, and bringing them home and connecting them back to their culture and their spirit and here. Yeah, I think one of the messages that I were important for me that I learned through reading about and trying to understand more about the movement. It's a new movement. It's an old issue. Our women have been gone and missing and undervalued for a long time, for hundreds of years since contact. And I remember one thing that stood out for me was that you think you are doing a good job of raising your daughters, and that this couldn't possibly happen to them. And I remember watching interviews, from women in Vancouver. They were lawyers and they were, doctors, and they were, really accomplished women who, were really careful, and they had also been abducted or assaulted or kidnapped in some way. So nobody was safe, and that was a really key message to share back to my own daughters, but also my own family, my sisters, that we have to be really vigilant when we're out, to be sure that we're checking in and making sure that we have safety kind of protocols in place. People know where you are. You check in with your parents, I'm safe, check in with your family members, travel in pairs, make sure you have a community of safe people around you. That's a real key message for me to share with young women in our communities.
Hiy Hiy, Hiy Hiy.